Good morning from... I know the sun is a little bit shiny, so the quality of the camera is not too amazing, unfortunately. Sun is shining though, so it's quite good. So, usually I'll make a video about different topics, and today I'm actually working in the backyard again. So that's what I actually want to focus on, because the cabbage is... This is the cabbage. I think it's broccoli. I'm actually pretty sure it's all broccoli, but I'm not too sure because only a couple of them have actually the broccoli flowers. So you can see there's also red cabbage, and I don't know how that thing in the back is called, but that bulb. But yeah, it's also there. It's also in the garden. So amazing. The thing that's a little bit, or even more amazing, is that first of all, if you look at this here, this little body, dang it, it flew away. I think that's actually, and I don't know the English name for slipe vesp, but I think the Latin name is that's Cotasia, which is actually the one that I really need right now, because if you just look at the leaves, you can see, maybe it looks good from a distance. Oh, what? No. I also don't know what the English name for that is, but apparently it's here, even though we don't have any water. Okay, we have a little bit of water, not much. But like you can see, these leaves are a little bit eaten. So when I started this year, these were one of the first successful plants in the garden, and I was quite happy with them. And I saw that there were some caterpillars eating on it of the cauliflower. I thought, no, how is it called? The cabbage white. And at first I was like, let's nature do its thing. If it grows well, then sure enough, there should be enough leaves for the plant to keep on growing, and I don't just have a small yield. But that's not really the case. Soon I realized it was not one caterpillar, two caterpillars. It were actually 5 caterpillars eating off it, and those chunky boys eat quite a lot. And yeah, so I went to Sweden, and I didn't look at the garden for a long time, and I'm actually surprised that they are still alive, because they must have had a rough time, I can assure that. Right now I've kind of given up on it, because look at the dog. I've kind of given up on it for the simple reason that I think it's at this point more beautiful if nature just does its thing instead of getting a yield out of it, because the yield is probably gonna be seed, because this is the best one that's been grown so far, and I don't know, there's not a lot to eat of that one, honestly. I think it's also flowering, which surprised me, because I thought it was meant to be one of those vegetables that doesn't flower. So yeah, that's a little bit of the introduction of the cabbage stuff, because what I would like to go into is the details of the two. Nothing interesting. I would like to go into the details of the two cabbage whites. I unfortunately don't see the cabbage white. I just saw a big cabbage white, so I would have loved to actually get a picture of that one, but I was unable to. So let's actually get into the details of the different cabbage whites. So what I wanted to say is, starting off, we do have these little boys, and those are the caterpillars of the big cabbage white, as far as I know. And like you can see, you have some there, and this leaf is absolutely getting demolished. So I think it kind of made sense. At first I thought, why does the big cabbage white have so many small ones, and does the small cabbage white have lay one egg with one big caterpillar? And it makes sense, because probably the big cabbage white has a lot more capacity to put a lot more eggs on one leaf than a small cabbage white, which just carries a lot less capacity. So that's interesting. I mean, if you see the large cabbage whites, they are always in a colony like this. And I think those are very detrimental. They can completely tear apart your cabbage. So I'm like considering, do I want to pick them apart and, you know, let them grow inside and feed them just cabbage of the cauliflowers that I buy at the shop? That's one possibility, although the last time I did it, they all died, which wasn't nice. So I need to figure that out, because I don't want to purposely kill those caterpillars. I would like to grow them like a good daddy. So that's a rough decision, but I know that if those ones just stick there, this cabbage is definitely gonna die. It's definitely gonna be empty, fully eaten. Yeah, so usually you see a cluster of eggs also close together. So it's actually very easy to find one of them. And actually we have a, wow, we have a third caterpillar I've never seen in my entire life. Oh, and there we have him. I think. That boy is hungry. Hungry for some caterpillars. Let's please. Can you focus a little bit, camera? Really highly appreciate it. There. I think that bad boy is looking for some caterpillars. So with its antenna, it's sensing the chemicals that the cabbage excretes when it's being eaten by caterpillars. And then that one lays an egg inside the caterpillar, and then the caterpillar is eaten from the inside. It's sort of a zombie effect, literally. It's hijacking the caterpillar system. So that's what I was trying to go for, like let the system do its thing. And then next year I want to know how I can attract as many of those Cotasia slipe wasp as possible in this small little garden, because then I don't need to worry about the pests anymore, because checking it constantly and having to purposely murder all of those little boys is not really one of the things I want to make my daily business of. One, because it consumes my time. Second, because I don't really like intervening with nature or killing animals unnecessarily. So yeah. So yeah, the thing that I left off with was like the clusters, and so far I don't think I can find any clusters of eggs. I honestly haven't really looked at it as well. So, but I think there is not really any clusters. Maybe it's also a little bit more towards the bottom, because that's a defensive spot. And I'm very sorry that you just don't see anything right now, except from some leaves and the camera going everywhere. But anyway, so that's not something that I can show you. So moving on to the small cabbage white, that one is actually very easy to spot. So I saw them actually from the inside. I saw them in the garden. I was like, hey, that's small cabbage white, and it's gonna lay eggs. And those eggs are individual eggs, and those are actually quite a lot on here, which I am able to find. So here, for example, that one, that little spot, that's an egg of the small cabbage white. And at the same time, we have one over here, I believe. Do I see more? I have seen more, that's one thing for sure. But those are just two examples. I believe that potentially it started to cut off, but I think that potentially this... No, it wants to focus on this. That black dot, maybe that's like a one that's nearly getting out of it. And I have some white ones. I'm not too sure if that's something, but I mean, it is there with a reason. So okay, at the outside you see a white one. That's another egg. So you can see that's quite a lot. And I can now show you, this is the chunky boy that gets out of it. It's a green one, so it's better camouflaged. And I don't know if the little flies are actually trying to like kill it or what it is. it's quite fascinating. So these ones are quite well camouflaged, particularly if they get like towards the core or underneath a leaf. They are very difficult to actually see. I also know just from the butterfly page that there is also a difference in the way that they consume the plant. So I believe the big cabbage white starts eating the edges and go inwards, and then the other one is like eating for some reason like the insides of the plant. So that's also interesting. But yeah, you have this little boy here, and I think there should be plenty of them actually all across this plant. So you should look carefully if you can see any, if I can find any more, because when I looked at here just 5 days ago, I'm pretty sure that I saw like a bunch of them, like really a bunch, but I cannot see them. And actually, this one is not a cauliflower. This one is probably a sharp cabbage. Apparently, just makes sense, the shape of it. So the last thing that I wanted to look at in terms of the cabbage is here, this one. Now, I've never seen this one before, this caterpillar. It looks like it's one from a night butterfly, the owls. I think it's just called owls. They are called owls in Dutch. So I will have to look up what it is. So it's lovely how much diversity there is just in one single plant of cabbage. And you also have these traces, which is another animal that's been sitting and feeding on it. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice, the diversity in here. I would like to just go across and go to another cabbage. Because here we go. So this is the cabbage with at least one of those boys, and then you have the second one sitting here. And I don't know what it's doing, but it's probably scared of me and wants me to go away. Oh, there we have a natural enemy. Then we have the third one, which chills on that leaf. And like you can see, they eat some pieces in the middle of the leaf instead of like at the edges. So you know that based on those types of feeding. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's the fourth one. That's a big one. And I think, yeah, there's the fifth. So this is a cabbage with 5 caterpillars. Oh, 6, 7. So apparently everyone just decided to take their own leaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have like 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 of those boys, yeah. And if one of them consumes one leaf, then this cabbage is definitely gonna die. Because the newer, fresher leaves are the most nutritious ones, because that's where those need to grow. So the ones that need to grow need also the most nutrition to be able to expand the cells. And those are eaten first because, of course, those animals want quality food, because that's also how they grow quickest. So it's interesting, but yeah, this cabbage is having a very rough time. And also here was like, can you consider, do I want to keep them on the plant and give up, or do I want to intervene here? Still not entirely sure what I want to do with it, kind of honestly. If I'm lucky, ooh, that's him. And I saw also a second one actually. So if that thing can just sit still, because I would really love to capture it. I think it's a beautiful butterfly, honestly. Oh, no. Please. Doesn't really like sitting still. Oh, maybe it comes back. Never mind. Maybe. Nope. I think it's a beautiful butterfly. So, yeah. Basically, gave a small little tour of the, how do you say it, the natural enemies of the cabbage white, and the cabbage white tearing apart my cabbages. Lovely. Me not knowing really what to do with the cabbages right now. If I want to leave them just for the animals to feed off of, or if I want to actually propagate them myself and give them a good life, but not on an actual cabbage. Because the thing is, I mean, it would also depend a little bit on the yield. I mean, the yield is not looking good at all. So that's what I need to make a consideration of. Like, do I really want to sacrifice all of these animals for a little bit of yield, or do I then just let nature do its thing? Because the pro of just letting it do its thing is that's a different kind of butterfly that I see flying around. That's lovely. The thing is, now I have actually a study object, so I can follow them very closely and see how nature interacts. I can see if the natural enemies are able to locate those cabbage whites and if they are able to control the pest. Which, if I would take them off, then of course I would never have the answer, and I would never know if we actually have the natural enemy of the animal inside of a garden. Which, like I said, that's a long-term goal, to actually establish an ecosystem where those guys just live and do the work for me. So I actually think, while saying this, that's actually what I'm going for. So I'm going to just observe them in the garden and just not really care a whole lot about what they're doing. I also know that this is an all different topic, but these leaves are curly, and I think that's because these boys, those white ones, I think they are called aphids, although I'm not entirely sure. I know there is a specific aphid that actually attacks this cabbage, or just cabbage in general. It's a specialist, and I think that the leaf scrolling is usually a thing which happens with aphid attacks. So it would make sense if this one is actually attacked by aphids. And that's really unfortunate, because at first I thought, well, good news, there is not really any cabbage white on it. There is only this lost boy, honestly, and here I see an egg. But yeah, it's just this lost boy. Yeah, so that's really unfortunate, because the other ones didn't have really any issues with aphids. Now it looks like some have issues with aphids, and then there's also a little bit of cabbage white. I don't know if this full leaf is just if you're able to eat it, because if you're able to eat it, then I don't really honestly care a whole lot, because then there is actually a lot of food still left of the cabbage. But yeah. Actually, what's this little boy? Interesting. I don't know. There's so many surprises. So that's always interesting to observe. And like you can see, I spent nearly 20 minutes on this video. So maybe you'll get a small idea of what I do in my daily life. That's just observing nature and trying to understand it, so that I can use it to my advantage, hopefully one day. So, the thing, contrary to all of my previous videos, is that this was mostly a video, honestly, just to enjoy seeing someone walk through a vegetable garden. Nothing too special, but someone who does have a little background in plants, so can tell you a little bit about the insects and interactions that happen on them. And I hope that information, for the people that are not much into gardening, I actually like watching it and learn something. I'm pretty sure that I have these facts here, or the things that I said here are actually facts. I am not entirely sure, so always do your own research if you don't trust someone's opinion, and don't blindly copy it. And if you blindly copy it, just give them the source, because then everyone who would checked this source would now know that I also, although I'm 95% sure that it's correct, also have a 5% chance that I make a small mistake and actually give the wrong information. So anyhow, I just wanted to say that, and I hope people have enjoyed this walk through the garden and this cabbage talk. For the other stuff, there is not a whole lot to talk about, and I will probably leave that to another episode. Also, this too is cabbage actually. I feel like this is cabbage, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, so that's it. Wish everyone who watches this video a absolutely wonderful day. Here in the Netherlands, I would say enjoy the weather because things have cooled down. We have rain for the garden, and that's amazing. So, yeah, I will say peace out, cheers, goodbye.